Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys a brand new 2020 album review. And today we're going to be looking into the brand new self-titled 5th studio album from the band The Ghost Inside, which was released today through Epitaph Records. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with The Ghost Inside, they're a melodic hardcore or hardcore slash metalcore band hailing all the way from Los Angeles, California, and these guys have been around since 2004. And I've pretty much discovered The Ghosts Inside about a couple years ago. I heard somebody was talking about them or posted a couple songs, and I went and checked them out. And I pretty much dug what they heard. And these guys were originally also called a Dying Dream. They put out one EP. I forget what year or so, but they put out it was called Now or Never, but then they got signed to Media Scare Records, which was their first record label, but then they changed the name to The Ghost Inside. And then in 2008, they dropped their debut album, which is Fearing the Fallen Ones, which is a pretty solid album. But I feel like after that, I feel like they slowly started to find themselves with their 2010 album, Returners, which is a pretty good album. But I really think they solidified themselves with their 2012 album Get What You Give, which is probably my favorite Ghost Inside album. In fact, there's the song Engine 45 is probably my favorite song of theirs, and that's pretty much what really got me into this band. And then 2014 we get their 4th album Dear Youth, which I thought was pretty good. But then tragedy struck in November of 2015 when the band members were involved in a serious bus accident, which I think cost the life of the driver, but pretty much the members and a couple their crew people were the only survivors, if I'm not mistaken. Again, correct me if I'm wrong there, but yeah, and the band pretty much sustained life emergencies, like including their drummer Andrew losing a leg and some of the members having like broken bones, and it took them like a couple years to just get back together. But it wasn't until about last year or so where they started playing a little bit of like one-off shows again. And then I heard it was a couple month or so ago they dropped this announcement of this album, and I was like, wow, I never thought this. And I had a chance to listen to this, but this album would live up for what the Dear Youth has, or is this could be considered a brand new start for them? In my honest opinion, I think it's a new start. I feel like the band is back and just stronger than ever before. Just the one thing to note about is the vocals. Let's talk about that. The production is just great. Like everything needs to be. And just the vocal work from Jonathan Vigil. Like I just love how he has like his does like those typical hardcore yells, but he also has like emotion, like power to it. And same thing when he does his clean vocals. Like wow, like I feel like this album just really just showcases his range, and just I don't know how he's just really great. The guitar work on this album is pretty tight. I have Chris Davis and Zach Johnson, I believe is his name. Both their guitar playing is just really tight as well, and just like creating just heavy chugs and just also have a little bit of melodic moments. The bass playing being from Jim Riley, his bass is pretty well known, turned up in the mix, as from what I heard from compared to as listening to previous albums before this album. But yeah, the bass is kind of audible here. You could definitely hear it cuts through. And drumming wise, it's insane how even losing one of his legs, like Andrew hasn't lost a beat and he just could still pound away at the drums like even before the whole accident. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is a little minute intro called 1333, which is a great way to kick off this album, and it has some gang vocals from the band, and this pretty much shows that the band is just back and just ready to just take over again and just ready to kick some ass, and that's pretty much what we're going to expect for this album. And then we go into the next track, which is Still Alive, which pretty much has some really great drumming from Andrew. And like I mentioned before, even after his accident, he hasn't lost it. He just still holds the beat. And musically, this song kind of reminds me of something from Returners. It's another good song. Then we go into the Outcast. This is pretty much where it kind of slows down a little bit in terms of the speed, but yet it's still heavy in here. And I sort of like love how it's sort of like the screams in here, and even sort of like clean vocals that are utilized just pretty much meld together perfectly, especially like during the chorus of the song. And then we go into Pressure Point, which starts right off with some riffs that hit you in the face like a million miles an hour, and just the verses in the song are just so goddamn heavy. Overexposure And I feel like this song is a great song. It could yeah, it's a great song. I feel like they can pull off live or just go well in a live setting, I should say. It has some really great melodies, even the vocals and even the guitars have to like give it like a very positive and uplifting vibe to it. Make or Break, just it's a pretty interesting song. I really love the guitar riffs on here. They kind of sound a little bit genty to hear. And then we go into the next song, which is Unseen. Now this is pretty much the most different sounding that we're not used to. Like a lot of like familiarity compared to like other albums that the Ghost Inside has, but I feel like Unseen is a very different. It has a very minute and a half intro that feels very just atmospheric a bit, and that has a little bit of like electronic elements, which is surprising. Like I mentioned, this is also, like I said before, the most different sounding of the album. Has some really clean guitars and some good bass grooves, and then this pretty much slaps you overhead with just some heavy distorted guitars and just punches you right in the face right in here. And then it's similar to Unseen. We get to the next song, which is One Choice. Now I really love the chorus. It's just one of the choruses on here that will not leave your head. It's just some good riffs right here. Now it kind of sounds a little bit radio friendly, but I feel like the stylistic choices on here are put together just really well. And just a very catchy song. Phoenix Rise has a really catchy intro, but then it hits you with just some heavy breakdowns. It makes you just want to fucking flip your shit. And then we go into Begin Again, which has a very high tempo song. Just when you first hear it, makes you just want to bang your head. Had some really great riffs and just good chugging guitars, and just the drumming tops it all off. And then the album closes with Aftermath, which is actually the first single released from this album, the first song we would hear from Ghost Inside in almost 6 years. And this song has a little bit of an atmospheric and a little bit at the beginning, but it gets you jumping in the verses, and it also has a really good break down in there, and then the bridges goes into a clean part, and Jonathan Digital is just showing his clean vocals. It just sounds amazing, and I honestly think he should do more clean singing. He has a really great voice, especially like during the part where he says, "Foundations that could never last, it's moving forward, a mistake, is that me pretending what would be a happy ending?" Ugh, that would get you right in the guts. And then he just belts out a scream for seconds. I love how his screaming with the beat goes on with sort of like the clean vocals in the background just really shine well, and just ends perfectly on a high note. And I feel like this pretty much ends a really good album. Now overall, the Ghost Inside self-titled album is a really good way to show off that this band is back and just ready to take over again. So if I have to give this album a score, I'm probably gonna give this album probably a 9 out of 10, and it's a really good album. So yeah, that's my review of the new Ghost Inside album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.